Let's talk about the other side of home ownership. Right? We hear it all the time. You got to buy a house, got to buy a house, right? Why pay someone else's mortgage when, why pay someone else's mortgage when you could pay your own? And I get it. I get it, especially when we're talking about wealth creation. But if we could be frank, it's better to do these things together. And I think men understand that maybe from a different way, maybe arrive at that conclusion from a different path. But a lot of times, the big impetus for men to buy homes is we want to start a family. But if it's just us, right? If we could, let's be real, if we could obtain what we wanted from women, companionship from women, living in a cave, we would do that. We would absolutely do that. But realistically, it takes more, right? And the kids need space. And they need a yard too. Let's get into this.
Don't buy that house. Not if it's going to leave you so broke to the point that the only place you can afford to go is work. I personally know somebody who bought a house that they qualified for on paper, but probably couldn't afford. And every single month is a struggle for them. I would not wish that upon anybody. This is why
You got to look at these things as, we've most of us have bought cars already and taken out car loans, and that's a 5 year. That back when I got my first car at 19, it was a 5 year loan, right? Nissan Altima. Shout out to Nissan. And it was a 5 year loan. That's a 5 year commitment of making monthly payments, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but we never forecast forward and saying my life is going to change. Things are going to get more expensive. This car payment's always going to be there. We don't budget properly. We just do these things because they've been the thing to do.
you have to know the difference between eligibility and affordability. Because when you go to get pre-approved to buy a home, a lender is going to qualify you for the maximum amount that you can qualify for. You have to know that they are qualifying you based off of your pre-tax income, aka your gross income. And we're also only looking at your credit debts like credit cards, car payments, and student loans. We ain't looking at your utilities. We're not looking at your daycare. We're not looking at your gas and groceries and everything that you also have to pay for every month just to live. Yeah, your lender might have approved you for a $500,000 house, but before you go any further, you need to see what that payment on that $500,000 house look like.
This is absolutely facts. It's easy to fall into the trapping of what society is telling you at large: buy a house, buy a house, buy a house. Relating it back to our community, we hear this as a lot as a talking point to sort of denigrate men and saying more women are buying homes. Then women own more homes than black women own more homes than black men. Again, I say while that stat is true, it's a functional thing. If men aren't getting, with women, we don't really see the need for a house, right? We don't need a lot of space for ourselves. We need very little, and to feel a level of contentment that we're ready for the rest of our life. We're willing to accept this form of life forever, rather than something more extravagant with what a woman might seem as necessary. And let's see how that plays out in this next one.
I am selling my house and I'm getting ready to move back with my parents yet again. I am single. I do have a 9 to 5 job where it does not pay me nearly enough to cover the bills. And I've had this house for about 3 years now, and I am just exhausted. I am drowning, barely surviving, not being able to make repairs because the house is now falling apart, and I have no money in my savings to fix it. I have been
Everyone I know is a homeowner. This is an absolute reality. Not to this extreme. Not to saying your house is falling apart, but it costs to maintain a house. There's costs that you will never see on the mountainous paperwork that comes to purchasing your own house. They never talk about what's it going to take to fix these things. You may get an estimate of how much longer your roof has or your boiler has, but then it becomes very small things, but constant, consistent small things that you have to address. So it's not just, all right, the house costs X, here's my monthly, this, that, that. Famously, right now, insurance is going up, property tax is going up, depending on your location, and it's adding. Sometimes you see something as simple as an extra $100, $200 a month, and that blows people's budget completely. Right? And I'm not saying that they didn't budget properly, but there is a hidden cost for doing this thing alone. And again, we hear so much about, I don't want to go 50-50. I want a man to pay for all these things. Well, you can do it by yourself. And when you choose to do it by yourself, this is the cost of adulthood right here. Again, would you rather be in a situation when you're struggling to do it solo, or you have someone that can team up? Yeah, we have to make these repairs, but it's both of us at the same time. Or you wanted to do it by yourself. This is what it is. This is what a man would have to do if he bought a house that, and we would look at him and say, you need a second job. You need a second job. You need to start working overtime somewhere else.
Been saving for the past 3 years. All I've been doing is working and going straight home. I don't go out. I don't spend money on like coffee or anything. I try to save as much money as possible so I could get some money to make repairs for this house to make it nice and comfortable and livable. But I am at my wit's end now, and I'm just tired. I honestly want to leave my job, my 9 to 5 job that's not paying me well enough to even cover the bills. I'm exhausted. I want to leave, but then I'm stuck with this house, and like I just don't want any of it anymore. So I'm selling it. I don't know what.
And she got it after 3 years. Well, she's trying to sell it after 3 years. She's gonna take a loss, right? Depending on the location, depending where she is, she's gonna take a loss. And I get it. It's pressure at home, pressure at work. Working a 9 to 5 is not paying you enough. Most men say, all right, you got to keep working. You need another job. You need another thing to do, or you don't get into this because what's the point of being a homeowner and single? Just from a man's point of view, if you buy into the thought process that you need to own a home to get a home, this is what the girl bosses are doing right now, then please listen to the undercurrent of what else that actually means.
What my plans are going to be after I sell my house and maybe leave this 9 to 5 job that I'm at. But we're just going to figure it out. So I'm going to sell my house and go back to living with my parents, unfortunately. And living with my parents is not going to be easy because it is very mentally draining. Financially, yeah, I'll be able to save some money, but it is mentally draining because living with some Spanish parents that treat you like you're 15 yet again, even though you are a grown ass.
One last thing before you check out this next video. If a man were to do that, we call him a bum, right? Call him a bum. You living with your parents, you're a bum. Who said that?
This is where all of my money goes. Every time a bill comes, I just hate owning a home because who needs to pay $250 for fucking electric?
Homeowners do, right? Homeowners do. It's not to laugh at her, but sometimes we have to forecast and look at things as they are rather than getting, sort of pulled into that space of I'm doing it because society says I'm supposed to do this. This is what success looks like. And hey, I'll be open and honest. I was a victim of that. I did things because society said a successful man is supposed to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, let me do that next. Rather than stopping and saying, what do I personally need in my life to consider myself success? I wasted a numerous amount of years. I don't consider them a waste because there's so many lessons I learned and can pull away from that and hopefully teach you so you don't have to make the same mistakes. If you want to buy a house, examine the reasons why you want to buy a house. If it's a wealth creation, cool. Exactly know what that looks like, right? What are those steps? How are things going to play out in 10 years, 15 years, 30 years? Because this is the sort of timeline commitment for that thing. I'll make another video down the line exactly laying out that process and what it looks like, how it could be beneficial to you today. But for now, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.